All right, guys. Happy May the 4th, Star Wars Day. I am going to go over yesterday's Myth World Cup action, the QR3 match between the MythFits and Avon's Grove, the legendary, probably 5 years in a row running Avon's Grove. Love to see them. This is the first of 5 games. Flag Rally, Primitive Soup, Trow. Let's get into it. So we see for Team MythFits, we have Sanglane, Silic, Sir Judith, Agerjag, Wolf 3, Legacy Typhoon, Goldsbane, and John God, a full squad of 8 players. For Avon's Grove, we have Swatacular, Vigor, Gerol, Baron, Photon Trooper, and Foss. So Avon's Grove is a little short-handed. Maybe Avon's Grove wasn't as active as some of the other teams in recruiting players. Maybe next year Baron needs to do a little Jehovah's Witness and start knocking on doors to try and get some more players. We'll see. Baron saying, I think if we can touch mid and not have to die taking it, it would make life simpler. So we'll see if their life is simple or not. So for Team Sanglane, we have quite a bit of artillery here. We have a lot of Soulless, 4 Mortars, 4 Warlocks, a bunch of Macridia, and it seems like the extra points were spent on Mauls here. Who is trowing? We see Agerjag and Goldsbane. If you recall from my last video, Agerjag and Goldsbane shared the trow, I think, on several games maybe, and that ended up working to their benefit because they ended up pulling out the match against TI, so we'll see if they can repeat. On Geral's side, we see comparatively a couple of fewer Soulless. It seems like 2 Dwarven Mortars instead of 4, 6 Warlocks instead of 4, so they opted for the Warlocks. I know that Warlocks are generally better than Mortars, but the one exception is in terrain, heavy terrain areas, inclines and hills and that sort of thing, in which case the Mortars may be better because they can shoot over stuff. So I don't know. I kind of like Sanglane's decision to get an equal number of Mortars and Warlocks, but it also depends on where you plan on going. Let me also mention that Garnish talked about getting flag 1 would make your life easier. That's true. However, if week 1 of Myth World Cup was any indication, this map is a bit imbalanced, and the southern team gets to the middle way faster than the northeastern team, and so I'm not sure if this map has since been edited and fixed or what the case may be, but based off Team CCC's experience in round 1, QR1 of Myth World Cup this year, Akira's team was able to get to this middle in about half the time as it took our team, so we'll see. Meanwhile, for Trow, we have, a 3-way split, Gerol with 2, Foss with 1, or Foss with 2, and Baron with 1.
Flag.
So we have a 2-2-1 split for the trowel for the Dove team. All Mercridia middle. Meanwhile, we have, oh yeah, see, it looks like Sanglane's team's going to get there a lot quicker.
Flag captured.
Yeah, it looks like this map has not been fixed. We'll see what goes on. All the mercs are rushing in.
Flag captured.
It looks like there's more Mercridia for AG and less Mercridia for Sanglane, but they do have those Soulless who are throwing. It's a 3-on-2 trowel fight. Gerald, I don't know what he's doing. And we have these two idle trow here. Foss, I don't know what Foss is doing. Everybody's starting kicking.
Flag.
And it looks like Avon's Grove is retreating. Nice shot there from Legacy Typhoon. Gonna hurt a bunch of Mercridia, stone the trow. Excellent shot. And now, since both teams are working on the middle here, actually no, Avon's Grove did not tag the middle. And they're down a trow. So Team MythFits off to a very quick lead. And they're also kind of tagging these exterior flags. I believe the MythFits only need to tag number 3 and number 7 here.
Flag captured.
Whereas Avon's Grove still has a lot of tagging to do, including that middle flag, which actually is pretty open now. However, I think Avon's Grove is now pretty much in all defense mode, and this trow, Gerald Toad, is probably going to get a tag here if he can kick this Soulless quickly. Nope, I think it's too slow. This Goulsbane trow barely crossing the border of the flag, preventing Avon's Grove from tagging, so good play there from Goulsbane. And it seems most of the action here. Again, we see an idle units.
Flag captured.
The Baron, perhaps tending to his servants. He's currently AFK. Okay, there we go. Nice shot there from Sanglane. Oh, and a double whammy for Legacy Typhoon and Sanglane working well together to bomb these Mercridia. And we have a crazy Mercridia on the loose. And yet, nice shots there from John God to kill these Mercridia.
Flag captured.
So the artillery are really just oppressing the Team Avon's Grove here. I heard a lock die. Okay, there it was.
Flag captured. Victory imminent.
Okay, yeah, these Soulless are idle.
captured.
They could be turning around to attack. I don't know how much damage they can do, but they should be at least throwing. Nice shot there from Legacy Typhoon. He's putting in a lot of work there with those mortars. And I think this is going to end it. There's nothing that Avon's Grove can do. Yeah, there you go.
Sudden death. Flag captured.
So yeah, I mean, maybe it's Avon's Grove shaking off the rust or what have you, but seemed like there were a lot of AFK units or units that were facing the wrong way, that kind of stuff. I mean, I think a lot of Myth is really just moving, and if you're the kind of person that uses one unit and then the rest of your army just kind of stands still, then you're not really maximizing the potential of your units. On the other hand, we saw some great some great pushing there with Agrajag and Goulsbane on the trow. And I think the 3-2 split was the right way to go. I don't really know about the 2-2-1 split. There was a lot of discoordination and that kind of thing, and especially when you're down 2 players, splitting the trow amongst 3 players, but still also just rushing the middle is kind of weird. If you're going to split the trow 3 ways like that, I would have liked to have seen some kind of 3-prong, or just spreading out a bit somehow. But also, this map is really imbalanced in the sense that the southern team can get to the middle a lot faster than the northern team, and I don't know if Avon's Grove, or the MythFits for that matter, actually ran through these maps, but the map was definitely uneven when we played Akira's team, the mall team, and it looks like Sanglane's team, with that southern start, was able to get that advantage because of the imbalance in the map. And I'm not saying that's the only reason why they won, but I'm not sure about having this map in future competitive tournaments, or at least in a type of game type where getting to the middle as quickly as possible is a central focal point of the game. Maybe if it were like capture the flag or something like that, it might work. But yeah, not a fan of this map. And I know somebody who hates this map even more would be our friend from Finland, Gecko. This kind of annoyed him to a great degree, and he's usually a pretty placid personality, but he uttered some profanity on voice chat during this match, and very uncharacteristic. So yeah, I would rather see this map in the trash bin, or a different game type being played other than flag rally, or these kinds of games. But there you have it. First game goes to the MythFits.
Game over. Victory imminent.
All right, moving on. We see capture the flag on Raisin Barn. Now this brings up memories of last year. There was an epic game between possibly the MythFits and Avon's Grove. But it went to sudden death almost, and I remember Silic, he had a dwarf march up and take the flag or something like that. Very good game. I caught it on video. Look through my old videos if you're interested. Myth World Cup 2025 between Avon's Grove and probably the MythFits, but it could have been a different team. So yeah, I mean, this is I believe we played this one last year. Let's see here. Okay, so Sanglane might have passed the units to Goulsbane, who's distributing. I'm not really sure. Sanglane has 0%, so I think perhaps Sanglane's the captain, but Goulsbane might have drawn up the strategy or something, and that's why he's passing out units. We see 2 full goal packs, it looks like, and it looks like the man himself, Goulsbane's got 12 goals, so this is obviously a goal pack, probably going to try and flank and steal the flag, something like that. Everyone else has pus goals. We see a lot of Thrall, a lot of warriors, Max Thel, Max Dwarves, and 2 J-men. For Team Avon's Grove, we have way fewer Thrall and it looks like they traded for 2 fewer dwarves as well. And they got archers instead, so it looks like they have 7 plus 5, so 12 archers. And that's the key difference. These 12 archers. Now, off the bat, I like Sanglain's trade a little better, just because, I question how effective archers are in a city map. Because let's say you have a line of archers, like what are they gonna? They would only really be effective if you have a clump of guys in this middle area. Pretty much everyone else can use these buildings as cover to dodge the arrows. And so, unless you can somehow draw out Sanglain's units into some open field, like maybe down here or something, I don't see the archers having that much practical use. But perhaps Swatacular thinks differently. He also opted for the maximum goals, and I think Swatacular is gonna control about 12 goals, similar to what Goalsbane's doing. We see some archers from Foss, Swatacular. Okay, we see a line. I'm not sure who exactly is meant to be on that line. Vigor and PT flank to base. So Vigor. Okay, so Photon Trooper is the dwarves. And who's Vigor? He's got the warriors. So we're gonna see a warrior and dwarf flank, and it seems like everybody else is middle. And no indication as to what Sanglain's strategy is. However, I do see some bottles being thrown into the water, so we may see some bottle pus action. A lot of melee going to the middle. We see some Sanglain warriors. These guys need to get going somewhere. I'm not sure what he's standing around for. Maybe he doesn't realize that he has these warriors. But, yeah, I mean, one thing to note is that Swatacular has 26% of all the units. That is quite a bit. Comparatively, Photon Trooper only with 8%, especially when you're short-handed. When it's 6 versus 8, I would like to see a little more balance between the percentages. However, Photon Trooper does have these dwarves going around, trying to get some kind of flank going on. Avon's Grove really kind of slow. You can see Sanglain and the MythFits have really kind of entered the city, the Raisin barn, so to speak, whereas Avon's Grove a little bit slower. We have some stopped units. I don't know if that's part of their strategy. But yeah, I think definitely Avon's Grove not as fast and quick to deploy as the MythFits. However, we do see this, I believe they're still undetected flank from Photon Trooper and Vigor. And now we see some mobilization coming from the south. It seems like Agrajag has all the warriors of Thel. It seems like Agrajag may be the power player for the MythFits, and that's why he gets the Trow and he gets the Warrior of Thel. Avon's Grove split theirs up, so I think we'll see what happens when you split the Warriors. Okay, so it looks like these Legacy Typhoon goals have sniffed out this flank here. There's not much they can do, but at least the MythFits are aware that this flank is happening, and they could adjust accordingly. Meanwhile, we have Agerjag moving in here. All he has to do is puss this dwarf, and then they could just rush. There it is. There you go. Okay, so now all these units are going to get wiped out pretty much. Unless something crazy happens. Okay, but now we see some adjustments from Baron. And then we see Coulsbane and Sir Judith coming in to try and pinch Garnish, or Baron, whatever his name is. We see a bottle puss. Oh, he picked up the wrong puss. Oh no, who is this Swatacular? He picks up the small puss. Oh, that almost could have changed the game there. Okay, now we just see all heck breaking loose. Baron and Agerjag fighting, but he is going up against, oh, another Puss Dud. Yeah, going up against the Warriors of Thel is pretty tough. Oh, we see Coulsbane blowing up some of his own units. And then, yeah, so it looks like Avon's Grove able to sort of regroup and push back. So, yeah, we see a lot of these bottles being thrown. No pus, though. Oh, and now these ghouls are just suiciding. Okay, that's not good there. That's a good pus from Baron, but I don't know if anything can follow up to kill him. Meanwhile, up here, oh, nice defensive pus there.
Contested.
From Swatacular.
Flag contested.
Foss needs to shoot these dwarves. Yeah, Foss is shooting warriors. He really needs to be shooting dwarves.
Flag contested.
Oh, a dud. That was an unfortunate dud there for Jarol.
Contested.
I mean, both flags are being contested. Okay, now all the archers are going to explode.
Flag.
And now, unfortunately for Team Avon's Grove, the MythFits are going to take this one. Yeah, that was an interesting game there because, you know, there was a lot of interesting back and forth down here. But, yeah, I mean, I did see that there was a flank. It didn't seem to have gotten much push. But, yeah, all of these archers getting wiped out. They had to be shooting those dwarves, but the dwarves instead able to kill all the defending thrall. Agerjag really held it down with the warriors of Thel. And then a very critical, almost game-shifting attempted bottle pus from Swatacular, who picked up the small pus instead of the big pus. It's things like that can really be frustrating. And, you know, had he picked up a big pus and that bottle pus went off and wiped out Agerjag's Warriors of Thel, I mean, who knows what would have happened. But there you go. The MythFits jumping out to a 2-0 lead.
Team eliminated. Game over.
Alright, moving on. This is game 3. Capture the flag. Temperance. Here we go. Back-to-back CTF games. This is a map, I think we might have played this in Myth World Cup last year. Very quick trade from Sanglane. Again, Goalsbane with 100%. So I think saying there might be this dual leads, like, KK Downing and Glenn Tipton from Judas Priest, dual lead guitars, Sanglane on voice, Goalsbane with the unit distributions, going for the 6 fetch, 2 Warlocks, Mercridia, probably Max Zerx, maybe almost Max Zerx, and 1 Maul. So, very sort of, I would say, normal for this map, as normal can be for this map. We'll see what Avon's Grove got. They opted for just a couple more Mauls, but basically an identical unit trade. I think they got, a couple of, maybe 2 fewer Zerks, 3 fewer Zerks, and got a few more Mauls instead, probably for defense. But as always, max fetch, 2 Warlocks, max Mercridia, basically the same unit trades. But again, it will be the momentum really is with the MythFits, not just because they're 2-0, but because they do have that 2-player advantage. And he's still, Swatacular's still handing out units, but it's still kind of an imbalanced unit dispersion percentage-wise, like as we saw in game number 2, where Swatacular had 26% and Photon Trooper only had 8%. When you're short-handed, everyone needs to sort of turn it up a bit, and I would have liked to have seen a more even unit distribution. But it looks like the MythFits have finished handing out units, so who is going to fetch? We see Silic and Sanglane. I think these are 2 excellent choices. Silic, again, I think is likely the most experienced player for the MythFits, so it makes sense for him to have these sort of technical units like the fetch. Of course, we have Foss, who's a legend in his own right, for Avon's Grove. So let's see. Yeah, he's got the fetch for Avon's Grove, and Baron, who I've seen, I have personal experience watching the Baron do some good things with the fetch when we teamed a long time ago in the the Thalander Spoon 2v2 tournament. Teamed with Baron. It was a pleasure. We see some lines here. It looks like PTV is doing some kind of roundabout. I really have no idea what this means. Photon Trooper maybe? But everybody else, straight line to the flag. So it's hard to really interpret what those lines mean. But yeah, I feel like everybody's going directly to the MythFits flag, except for PTV.
Game on.
Let's see some of these melee distributions. So we see Giral with 25%. Okay, so Giral has the Zerks, and I guess his Zerks are saying hello to the camera. And so that is 25% all of those Zerks? Not really sure. But yeah, we see. Okay, so I really hope. Okay, so yeah, we see some of the fetch going into this amphitheater or whatever it's supposed to be. I don't like that. I would rather keep the fetch sort of on the outer edge, because elevation does matter to a degree. However, we do see these Foss fetch way out of position here. Oh, but we see Sanglane rotating away. I would have liked to have seen Silic and Sanglane. So, oh, geez, 6-on-3 these fetch, but Baron is gonna eat a fireball that wipes out 2 of his fetch. Oh, and then Vigor with a nice fireball of his own gonna wipe out 2 of Silic's fetch. So it is an even game here. Again, you know, the Warlock can get a little more range because if he shoots downhill, so I don't like the fetch down there. But yeah, I think early on when it was 6-on-3, they could have just wiped out those fetch without the Warlock shots. But we are seeing a retreat from Avon's Grove. And this flank here from Agrajag. I was wondering why Agrajag didn't get the fetch. It's because he's working on this flank here. Meanwhile, Sanglane is putting some pressure. Nice shot there. I mean, honestly, Sanglane can just rush this. Sanglane and Goldsbane, yeah, they could just rush this. Answer Dudith. I don't know why they're just kind of standing around. Swatacular giving the command to return to base now. And Gerald. Let's see if Gerald comes in and tries to attack this Warlock.
Flag contested.
I mean, we see Avon Grove's flag getting swarmed. Gerald, I don't know where he's going. He should have been returning to base here. I don't know if Avon's Grove can get there in time. Okay, they do get there in time. This fetch needs to start blasting. Baron, wake up! Baron! Okay, I guess they kill them all. Alright. I mean, I think the MythFits were about half a second from winning that game. However, I will say that the MythFits do have a sort of surrounding position here. And I think it's a situation where, oh, nice shot there from Garnish. I think we need to just rush somebody. And I think that's what Gerald's doing.
Flag
However,
contested.
he's running off the flag. Gerald, you're running off the flag. Okay, so Garnish is going to get that final fetch, or I guess the second to last fetch. Now Gerald split his units, split the Zerks. Need to send a unit to kill these fetch.
Flag contested. Flag contested.
Oh, that one hurts.
Flag captured.
And there you go. So yeah, I mean, I mean, he's a legend for sure, but Gerald Toad, I feel like he was a bit too hesitant with that Zerk pack. I think that once he realized they were surrounded, he just had to make a move.
Team
But
eliminated.
I think he took a few extra
Game over.
fetch shots than he had to. But good push there from the MythFits to ultimately surround Avon's Grove and push in for the victory. Yeah. Moving on. Here we go. We got the second flag. So we had 2 flag rally games and 2 CTF games so far. So not really heavy on the king of the maps or the territories and that kind of stuff. Last man on the hill, king of the hill. It's just CTF and flag rally. 2 excellent game choices. I'm not sure who made the choices, if it was Avon's Grove or the MythFits, but they seem to like flag rally and capture the flag, so there you go. Alright, so we see a very, very, very melee-centric unit trade here, with 6 archers. Silic is going to get those archers, a fine choice. And we see the captain himself, Sanglain, with a journeyman, a dwarf, and some thrall. Sir Dudith with some warriors. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. It kind of reminds me of Flag Rally on Venice, where a majority of the flags are around the edge of the map, and there's not much going on in the middle, except, of course, there is a flag in the middle on this map. But, you know, I think it's one of these instances where, you know, half the army is going to go clockwise, half the army is going to go counterclockwise, and see what happens from there. Meanwhile, let me check out these unit distributions. We have John God with 20%, a dwarf, journeyman, probably some, yeah, a thrall pack, and then yeah, very melee heavy. It's only 6 archers. This side we have 11 archers and way fewer thrall. And so, yeah, I mean, we've seen Avon's Grove pretty heavy with the artillery every game so far. And conversely, we've seen the MythFits with comparatively fewer artillery units, going with 6 instead of, what is this, 11? Something like that. And then no real ability to push with the thrall because there's only a handful. And but I think they did get 2 additional dwarves as well, and so, you know, there is one counter to thrall, it's dwarves, and so I don't think all is lost for Avon's Grove. However, Swatacular does need to hurry up a bit because he still has 50% of the army. I don't know if that's by design or if it's intentional, but we see Geralt with 4%, Photon Trooper with 9%, so we have 2 players with single-digit units, and Swatacular for the 4th game in a row now, doing a lot of heavy lifting, holding 50%, and I don't know about this. And it looks like Team Avon's Grove strategy is to go clockwise.
Flag captured.
Except Baron, who is going counterclockwise. Meanwhile, it looks like nobody from the MythFits is going to the middle. We see a couple of goals, a couple of Geralt Toad goals. going for the middle flag, and I think they're going to get there first.
Flag
Looks like there's some
captured.
warriors going middle, but they aren't gonna get there before the goals, and so
Flag captured.
that will allow Avon's Grove to tag this essential flag and then focus on the outer edges of the map. However, there is a huge amount of percentage
Flag captured.
playing defense. I assume this is all 39% of Swatacular's units. Again, Geralt with just 4%, Photon Trooper 9%. I don't know why he isn't distributing more units, especially these archers. I think maybe their overall strategy is to tag
Flag
as many
captured.
flags as possible, and then like turtle
Flag captured.
and try and hold them off and swipe a victory maybe, which I think is way too passive of a strategy.
Flag captured.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that. However, we do see that Avon's Grove does outnumber the MythFits because there's so much headed to the middle here, and it's going to take some time for the MythFits to redistribute their units to the outer edges of the map. So, I think if Vigor, he just needs to keep pushing. I realize he's waiting for the Dwarf, but in a game like Flag Rally, I think you sometimes just gotta leave the slow units behind and make a dash for these flags. It looks like
Flag
someone was
captured.
almost able to tag Flag 6 for
Flag
Avon's Grove,
captured.
but they threw pus instead. Meanwhile, we see Swatacular bringing his army to flag number 2, vacating flag number 3. I don't know if it makes much of a difference. But yeah, we see Silic getting ready to make an assault. Again, some idle units here. Swatacular needs to wake
Flag
up. He's getting
captured.
shot. Down south. Yeah, I mean this needs to be a rush.
Flag
They
captured.
should be able to take flag number 6. Meanwhile,
Flag captured.
flag number 7,
Flag
it'll be
captured.
tough for them to get.
Victory imminent.
And the MythFits, they do have this northern flag almost. Oh yes, they do. And so, they are actually... Okay, so now Geralt all of a sudden has 20%. Geralt going to work on these archers. However, the dwarf is the star of the show, and I think the dwarf might be on autopilot. The dwarf needs to be blowing up these thrall, and Geralt needs to be killing these archers. There we go.
Flag captured. Victory imminent.
And it looks like they might be able to tag this.
Flag
And they do. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like the defensive stand from Swatacular and Geralt could have gone a lot better. The dwarf I think was AFK or something, and it was tucked way behind the army when it needed to be up blasting thrall. And yeah, and then the decision to guard flag number 2 instead of flag number 3. I'm not really sure why that happened, but it sort of led to perhaps a little bit of a delay in reaction time, maybe, and that allowed the MythFits to get their thrall wall in place and just keep trucking. Meanwhile, down south, we see that if Avon's Grove were to stave off that attack, it's likely that they could have wiped all of this out and perhaps won the game. But it wasn't meant to be. We saw Silic, I think Sanglane with the Thrall, making a good push and winning the game for the MythFits, bringing it to 4-1 or 4-0. And here is the, oh my god, a non-flag rally, a non-CTF game. This is King of the Map on Tamaerlin Dark. Let us see what happens. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I did like that Avon's Grove strategy. I don't know about Swatacular having 39% of the army, but once they split it, started, defending that flag, I think they could have staved it off if they got that dwarf going. But, and then that southern army could have swept in and tagged that southwestern flag. But again, it is tough going 8 versus 6 or 6 versus 8, regardless of how experienced your players are. Being down 2 hands, or I guess 4 hands, is always a tall order. So we'll see what happens. I think the MythFits may have passed out their units already, so we will see. We've got Agrajag with the Trow, that is no surprise. Legacy Typhoon with the Solus, and then some various artillery and melee packs, presumably. Meanwhile, for Avon's Grove, we see a split Trow set with Gerol and Foss. And that's actually all we really see so far. But right off the bat, okay, we see some very complicated looking directions here. I'm sure it makes sense if you were in the Avon's Grove chat, but to me, it seems like everybody go middle and then branch off, choose a squiggly line and go there. But I'm guessing that they're all going to go middle and then branch off from there, but who knows. But yeah, as I was saying, when you're short-handed like this, I would have preferred to see the Trow together, because splitting up the Trow, I mean, unless you do some kind of 2-pronged attack or something like that, you're really occupying, 2 people's attention is going to be occupied, and that'll allow a artillery and melee pack to get double teamed essentially. Whereas if one person had the Trow and then everybody else had melee and artillery packs, you're not necessarily going to get 2 versus 1 unless you're out of position or something. So it's going to be kind of tough. It looks like Baron might be getting a couple of Warlocks. Okay, so it looks like the Trowers are going to get Zerk packs as well. And so the only thing that's going to be defending these artillery units are these 10 mauls. And as much as I like mauls, I think there really needs to be a little more defense for these artillery
Game
units.
on.
And the Solus, oh, they're split between two people. Okay, so usually these Solus are pretty useful around these mountainous areas. I assume like one pack's going to be here, just kind of tagging this, maybe pushing here. The other one might be going middle, something like that. Yeah, okay, but I don't know how much Ford Solus is going to make, how much of an impact it's going to make to the middle, but we'll see.
Flag captured. Flag
All right, so Giral and Foss
Flag contested.
are going to make it first, and they're bringing all their Zerks, so there's definitely a unit advantage for Team Avon's Grove right now.
Flag captured.
And it seems like Giral wants to push.
Flag captured.
Foss is probably going to be able to kick these Silic Solus. Yeah, he didn't have much chance there. Hate to see it, Silic. Probably could have gotten that last Solus if he tried, but instead he sees
Flag
a Warlock,
captured.
a tastier prize.
Flag contested.
Goldsbane, I
Flag
think, is going to get
lost.
kicked here.
Flag contested. Flag captured. Flag contested.
Yeah, and so now the MythFits has the Trow advantage. They really should just be pushing this. And there needs to be some,
Flag captured.
you know, this Sanglain
Flag
mortar needs to be
contested.
blasting these Zerks.
Flag
Oh,
contested.
maybe he control
Flag
clicked that?
lost.
I don't know. But
Flag contested.
frankly, these Giral Zerks should be dead by now. And I think the MythFits really need to be
Flag
pushing this.
contested.
I'm not sure what these malls are doing. Like, there needs to be a
Flag lost.
push here. And now, oh no, okay. I think this Trow is going to get stuck. Yeah. Oh no. And then again, Sanglain with the control clicks. I think if he just clicked on some Zerks, he would have killed
Flag
him.
contested. Flag captured.
Alright, so it looks like from that conflict, Team Avon's Grove is going to come out a little bit better. Nice shot there from Baron.
Flag captured. Flag
Meanwhile,
contested.
where is the other Trow? The one that peeled off. Nice white.
Flag contested.
And Giral's going to be punching this, so he's going to kill all of those moles. And almost stone. He's going to kill this Warlock. He's going to kill this Warlock.
Flag
Okay, there we go.
contested.
This mortar's going to
Flag
blast these guys. Nice shot there from Baron. Okay, so Baron and Garnish. These guys are working like Starsky and Hutch here.
Flag captured.
It looks like Sir Dudith. He might get some pressure on Baron, but yeah, I don't know where the who was the other Trow? Foss?
Flag lost.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's just one
Flag
Trow left.
contested.
And he's
Flag
going to town.
captured. Flag contested.
Wolf 3. Uh-oh.
Flag captured.
Okay.
Flag lost. Flag contested.
I think Vigor might be able to come around
Flag
and
lost.
put some pressure on this Maul and Mortar pack. This Warlock is going to make things really difficult.
Flag captured.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to
Flag
do it from this
contested.
southern army. Oh no, what is going on
Flag
here? Okay,
captured.
Foss doing some damage. Look at all these kills here. He's probably going to get this guy. And, yeah, I mean, this is decidedly in Avon Grove's favor. They have the flag advantage. They're up by 40%. Life is good for Avon's Grove
Flag
right now.
lost.
And I don't think the MythFits really have any way of...
Flag lost.
Yeah, they don't have any artillery. Okay, they have one mortar. But,
Flag captured.
yeah, I don't think
Flag
they have any way
contested.
of changing
Flag
the tide
lost.
of this map or this game.
Flag contested.
This Foss
Flag
Trow is really
captured.
just going ham here.
Flag captured. Flag contested. Flag contested.
Oh,
5
I think
minutes remaining.
Trow's gonna die. Okay, well, Trow gets frozen by a Vigor fireball. But it looks like
Flag captured.
again the
Flag lost.
MythFits might be
Flag contested.
beyond the point of no return here.
Flag captured. Flag contested. Flag contested.
Nice work there from these spectacular mauls. And then all of a sudden, the last two units for the MythFits. So people saying GG, that usually means that they conceded, but as you can tell, they are not conceding. They're actually gonna perhaps... Okay, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, they should be suiciding. Once you start saying GG, that means it's over.
Flag
Perhaps some dirty play from the MythFits.
Flag captured.
Alright, and this is going to end it, I think.
Team
There we go.
eliminated.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I think there was an opportunity when Foss peeled off his trow to go south. Aggerjag had an opportunity to push when it was two trow versus one, but unfortunately wasn't able to get enough momentum. I think there were some opportunities to kill Geral's Zerks from Sanglain, or maybe Legacy Typhoon, whoever had the mortar go in the middle. They could have popped those Geral Zerks, and that would have killed all momentum Avon's Grove had in the middle, and that would have allowed Aggerjag to, either kill the Geral Trow or start kicking all the artillery units, and then they could have been off to the races. But instead, Geral was able to get in position, start kicking some stuff. Foss, I think he went down here for a while, kicked a bunch of artillery units, so that sort of stunted the eastern push from the MythFits. And then, it's just two veterans, Foss and Geral, doing what they do best, just kicking bad guys. And they ended up getting 59 and 50 damage. Baron also had a couple of nice shots with his mortar, supporting Geral in the middle. Yeah, it was an interesting game there. We see that, you always like to see the underdog team, only 6 players, pull out a win in the end. So congratulations to Avon's Grove. Congratulations to the MythFits for winning the series 4 games to 1. This is the end of the QR games, and everything from here on out is going to become much more serious, much more intense, hopefully. And wishing everybody luck in the next rounds, and we'll see you next time.